Hi everyone and welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast, coming to you from Knowledge 16 in Las Vegas. I'm Kirsty McGowan, I'm here with Ken Gonzalez.
Hi Kirsty.
Hey Ken. Carlos Casanova.
Hey Kirsty.
And it's our pleasure to be sitting down with Chris Pope today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me for the first time.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, we've been trying. And I mean, obviously, Chris, you and I go back 5-10 years.
At
It's
least.
been quite a while. And obviously, things have changed considerably in that time. And both your role has changed quite a bit, and platform has changed. Platform's grown tremendously. It seems like the speed at which things are happening and the enablement that this platform now is providing to your customers is huge. I mean, it's we were talking earlier how it's really enabling organizational change within the customers. Tell us a little bit about how that's happening.
It's really interesting because kind of in technology we're not short of choice, right? There's a lot of widgets, lots of tools, lots of different things. And certainly as a larger organization, there's less wholesale deals being done. People are more a la carte shopping and they're almost fickle. So you can do this with your banks, you can do it with all sorts of fun things. Now you're getting into that space with commoditized cloud services. Is it Amazon versus Google versus Microsoft or storage, whatever. And now what we're finding is with our platform, there's so much in it and rich that you still get that initial implementation phase of we've got to re-engineer process, people, technology, those kind of things. And the table stakes is always instant problem change, CMDB, right? Because you still have to run your operation. And what we're now finding is, they're anywhere from I think the world record is 7 days for a go live in ServiceNow, all the way up through sort of 8, 9, 10 months. And what our customers are now seeing is that first project happens, what's phase 2 look like? And they're even deciding not to use the word phase. And they're moving towards the word release because phase inherently thinks of something big, long, and monolithic, right? Mm-hmm. So some of the banks and financial services guys that I work a lot with, we've actually now transformed them from their initial go live to how do we keep the innovation going in the platform with ServiceNow releasing twice a year? How do we keep up? Because we don't want to be in that situation of the big 18-month long upgrades. And the guys are innovating all the time. How do we keep up and catch up, right? And we do have customers that skip releases, and that's fine. But they're moving to monthly release cycles, which for a large, highly regulated industry is unheard of, right? And I think as part of that, they're getting so much more capability and functionality. They're thinking, how do we adopt this now? The how has been solved, right? That's the technology platform. We're really challenging them with a higher value question of what problem do you now want to solve with it? Which, that's the dream, right? That's where, go back to ITIL V2, V3, and all beyond, right? Yeah. It's the value statement that we really struggle with in IT.
Yes, exactly.
So from this year's conference and previous years, one of the highlights for me is always the hackathon.
Yep.
Because I love seeing people come up with ideas and in a constrained period of time, make something real.
Yep.
Talk to us about this year's hackathon. And
so I somehow inherited, I think, often, if you speak the loudest, it's like, all right, go fix it then, right?
It's yours.
Or you can't run fast enough.
Careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we came up with the branding around Hack Now, right? And we have a core team of guys that support me in doing this around the world. Any customer, we did a community one in Sydney in March this year, where someone actually built the equivalent of Uber on ServiceNow in 9 hours. Was it slick and beautiful? Of course not, right? It's a bunch of IT guys building it, right?
Are you implying anything about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's built for them and the power user, not the consumer, right? But it worked. But, the hackathon last night that we ran, and we finished at midnight or so, we had, over 200 people come, which is a big increase from previous years. We had people hacking cocktail machines where literally from a catalog you chose your core liquor and then the mixers, and the thing was dispensed. And we're like, okay, we never thought of that, but that's cool.
That is cool.
Right?
Yeah. We need help with that.
We need to productize that and get it now, right? But I think what we've seen is, again, right, instant problem change, all those good things, the core IT world is kind of being dealt with. And I don't want to say it's commoditized because there's still masses of work to do in just getting basic service if I can't print or I can't do something, right? But what we're finding with the hackathons is we don't set any boundaries. We say, right, here's Helsinki as of last night. You can enable anything you want, licensed or unlicensed, we don't care. Because often, they're kind of ring-fenced internally with what they own.
Yes.
Now, would we sell them everything? Of course, we'd love to, right? But that's not reality. No. So we let the doors open on it and say, right, and then we flooded the room with about 45 of our engineers and said, grab one, bribe them, whatever you want to do, and use them, right, for what you need to do. And I think a really good example that we had of this was we did the hackathon in Sydney, in Darling Harbour in March this year, and we had a team come from Fairfax Media.
Right.
Who've been pushing hard for months and months and months around employee health and safety reporting. So, someone fell down the stairs, we have to fill in the form, report it, and all that good stuff. And then also people self-identifying, hey, there's a water leak in the bathroom or something, right? And that was all manual, paper-driven process. And these guys had never been given the kind of green light to go and solve that problem. And it was a decent six-figure number a year they were spending on an older solution. So I think they ended up taking 2 days vacation, one each, right, and come to the hackathon, and they just had a crack at it. And they came third in the end, but they had it, they built it, they took it back to their CIO, and who literally said, done, put it in production.
Wow.
And it took them 9 hours. And suddenly for us, that's opened the doors on, wow, the art of the possible, right?
Yes.
And there were people there, more learning what they could and couldn't do. We had some pretty serious groups as well who've been in previous hackathons. But it's more of a fun networking event, and kind of what we find a lot is people don't know enough about all the other stuff under the covers beyond core ITSM. If you go to a platform to build an app, you need a middleware layer, you need a notification engine, you need a mobile thing. It's all there.
Yeah.
So blow the doors off, think of a crazy idea, and have a go at it, right? And suddenly 9 hours later, you've actually got something quite tangible.
Well, at minimum, you have that sort of I don't want to use the term proof of concept, but essentially that quick. Here's what it could be done
Right.
if I had more than 3 hours and 2 less drinks.
And I'm running, right, absolutely.
that could help.
Right, but in the office, right, they're running environments, they're running support, they're implementing change, they're part of projects. You don't get that, here's some free time, go do something, and see what's possible.
Yeah,
Now, who knows, fast fail, might not work, but at least you know,
Yes.
and as long as you learn something along the way, then it's a benefit.
But even proving out that, oh, you know what, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit in and of itself. It's not just that it has to be used, but this made sense, and you kind of push for it. Here's a safe environment to try it out. Talk to the engineer, and the engineer looks at you cross-eyed and like, yeah, no, you can't go there.
Yeah, and we had a lot of feedback last night whereby some of these teams, getting even 2 hours, let alone 4 hours of dedicated time from one of the ServiceNow gurus, that's just not going to happen in the field, right? Because it's got to be linked to an opportunity and all those fun things. This is, hey, like you just said, right? Let's go have fun with it, see what we can do, and if something good comes, if not, we learn.
Yeah, get in the sandpit and just build.
Exactly. Yeah, totally agree.
So what else is going on with the platform going forward? I mean, I know it's not like it's done and you're ready to go vacationing.
Right.
So what's coming?
So I think, you've heard in the keynotes the big things around customer service management and security incident response, the watch and those kind of things, right? Which is a bit gimmicky.
Yeah.
But I think it's more really showing the power of the platform and what you could do and innovate with. What that watch app technology was built from is the same thing that all customers have in Helsinki. So it's really around the power of the platform and exposing it. I think the other thing, one of the big things I'm super excited about with the Helsinki, and partly because it was my idea, but
so there's no bias here?
It's a little bit about me after all, right? But it's CMDB, right?
What's that?
It's this thing that, anyway.
Should get past chapter 2.
Exactly, yeah. But it's a health dashboard. It's data quality, but it's contextual, right? So it's great that, whatever you've got, 150,000 CIs. But if I actually break that down into come to sign it, it's got a sort of health index of completeness, accuracy, and compliance. It's complete because I found everything on my network, tick the box. But in terms of compliance of what I found, it's 2%. I know where the issue is, right? But it's driven in such a very contextual way of what's the health of something based on a condition that I can look at and move. And then next quarter I go after the accuracy maybe, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And simple things like orphans, right? Servers that are out there with no relationship to anything, you could argue what the hell are they there for?
That's right.
If the alarm goes off, ignore it.
Yeah.
Because until someone screams, you don't really know, right? So I think for us, we've got a very high percentage of customers in production with CMDBs that are great. But when you suddenly put this different lens on it that really looks at the value of it and how's it helping me, I think they'll suddenly see, from a binary, do we have one, do we not, to we have one, but in terms of what we really care about, it's only 34% of what we think it should be. We can really drive additional value and kind of go up the food chain and get out of that. The workshop we ran here at Precon, was kind of a modernized version of something we did 2-3 years ago, where we, implementation of CMDB, what it means, and you never touch the technology once. Because we're too quick to dive in, start pushing data in, and all we've done is move the problem from whatever system of record it is, vCenter, SCCM, whatever it is, into ServiceNow. And because you're the last person that touched it, guess whose problem it now
it's
is,
yours.
right? And you're the bad
You
guy.
own it.
Right,
Well, if I'm looking at it through your window, it's your issue.
Bingo.
As far as I'm concerned, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've talked about a lot of the stuff. So yeah, the being able to provide the consumer a sense of, should I trust this unquestionably, or it is what it is, but you know what, let me go find the secondary source. Let me make sure that I do that second call before I make a decision on it. That stuff, discussions you and I have had for years.
It's like trust and verify.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And without that lens, I mean, that's that first step to really say, okay, hey, let's maybe do a second check, but now a secondary operation is, let's start improving that. Let's find those gaps and stuff. But it's got to play into the security component, because I spend a lot of time on that space now, where is that orphan? We shouldn't have orphans.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. What's this thing even doing? Because if we don't know that, it potentially isn't patched.
Yeah.
And there's the hole, right? That's where they're going to get in. So it's those things. And I think even beyond that now, we're getting pushed. And literally just came from this conversation earlier around duty of care is kind of what people are calling it, where every organization has to their employees, the insurance, the liability aspects of things. But, at any point in time, where are my people? What are they doing? What are their assets? What assets do we have? And do we have retail locations and things? And bad things are happening in the world. It is, just the nature of the beast. As a organization, I have a duty to make sure my employees are safe. And then you dive in a little bit deeper and say, well, how do I even know if they're safe? So do we, you blast out and wait for them to report in? But can we proactively say, look, travel delays, weather issues, law enforcement feeds. And I've got 3 very, very large customers north of 150,000 people right now asking us that, how do we do this on the platform? And when you boil it down, it's workflow, notifications, integrations to data feeds that are widely available on the internet. But bringing it together in context of what's just happened, what does the impact look like, you suddenly have a really powerful way of doing things. And if it is some kind of technology, maybe a data center in a region where there's a hurricane, or certainly out in sort of the east, the APJ world, where you have typhoons and all these horrible things happening. Suddenly you're like, right, technology-wise, what's impacted? What services are we even running out of there? Is there a way to fail them somewhere else or do something different? So it's not only the technology kind of DR, BCP aspects, it's the duty of care of our people that run our services as well now. It's great they're up, but if there's no one to run them and operate them, they're kind of pointless, right?
So it took us a few years to get you on.
One or two.
We could definitely get on, for probably another 20, 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
We could. But it has been a real pleasure having you here today, Chris.
Thanks
Great
for coming.
to talk to you.
We appreciate you coming.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it.
It's
been a
few
great
close
2 days.
friends and 11,000 others, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Excellent.
Thanks
Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you.